I didn't know you were fully deaf in 1 year.
Completely deaf in my right ear.
That's wild.
Yeah.
And it just happened randomly?
Yeah, I don't know why. The story, when I found out, I was like 4. Well, I already knew, but my parents didn't know. My mum took me to the beach and she picked up a seashell and put it to my ear and was like, "Oh, can you hear the ocean?" And I'm like, "No, I can't hear anything in that ear." Like I just thought she knew that already. And she was like, "What do you mean you can't hear in one ear?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I just thought everyone couldn't hear in one ear." And then she's like, "Oh, we got to take you to a audiologist." And they went there and they did all these tests. And they're like, "Yeah, your kid's really deaf."
Oh, man.
So completely nothing.
Nothing.
I've got like a couple of like super high frequencies, like the kind of stuff a dog would hear, like really, really high. So if you like hit my ear with enough sound, it just kind of tingles, but it doesn't feel like hearing. It literally just feels like getting an electric shock. So for all intents and purposes, it's gone.
Wow. So if I just yelled in your ear right now, you wouldn't hear it.
No, well, yeah, I wouldn't hear it.
That's wild.
But I would still hear it because sound travels around.
Of course.
Yeah.
No, it just goes straight into the ear and not out the other.
Well, people sometimes ask that. They're like, "Oh, can I say something into your ear?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but I'll hear you because there's another ear on the other side of my head." But yeah, if you blocked that ear completely and then yelled in that one, I wouldn't hear it.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's actually great. My girlfriend snores. I just sleep on my good ear. It's the best.
Does it actually help?
Yeah. I can't hear anything. If I lie on my working ear at night, I'd mute. So like if there's traffic or like my grandmother used to live next to a freeway and I always had the room with the comfiest bed was in the loudest room. So I used to just sleep in the room next to the freeway. Couldn't hear a thing. The best.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's great.
You actually can't beat that.
Yeah. No, you know what's really good? On dates, where you go on a date with a girl and the first date, you're normally a little bit apart from one another because you're still feeling each other out. But I used to go, I need to sit next to you so I can hear you. So then you've got this artificial proximity. And then just because you're leaning over and talking to them, they're like, "Oh, maybe I like this guy." And they like, I feel like they got a little tricked into liking me more than they otherwise would have just because I was close to them.
But he's got that deaf charm.
That Deaf Riz.
Deaf Riz.
Deaf Riz. That's my rapper name.
That's
Riz.
pretty good, man.
That's pretty good.
That should be the name of your next album.
It should be.
Or the name of like a comedy show or a festival you put on.
Well, I wanted to do a show here. There's a venue in Melbourne that's very it's a very like progressive, supportive environment for comedy. But they pride themselves on being very like progressive. And I asked them if they wanted to do a deaf show. So I wanted to get a bunch of comics and then market it to the deaf community and then have like a TV with subtitles.
That's hilarious.
On the stage for have it live subtitles or have someone doing sign language interpreting. And the booker emailed me and said, "Oh yeah, we'd like to do it, but just so you know, we're not an accessible venue. We have a staircase. So like I hope that's not a problem." And I'm like, "What do you think they're not going to hear their way up the stairs?" It's like it's a different disability.
Completely backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they just heard the word disabled and then they just were like, "Oh, well, there's only one type of disabled person."
Of course. Yeah. How bigoted of them.
Which is very progressive.
It's actually not progressive.
I know.
They should be shamed.
I know.
Name the venue right now. Yeah.
That'd be a great idea for my career.
I know, right? So has that, I mean, I know you have a girlfriend right now, but has that ever actually helped you? Like, it's like we were joking about having Deaf Riz or whatever, but like, does that actually like work if you're on a date?
No, totally. Yeah. Like, or like, cause girls for some reason used to get very excited and be like, "Oh, can I whisper in your ear?" And then, they whisper in your ear and then they give you a little kiss and then you go from there. It's great.
just a little tingle.
Yeah. Or, they'd whisper in your ear and then they go, "What did I say?" And you turn to tell them and then now you're just making out.
Perfect.
Yeah, it works.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
I don't know if other disabilities have the same thing. Like, I don't know if girls are like, "Oh, can I like kiss your stump?" Or something.
Stump. Or yeah, if you're like in a wheelchair, like you can get them to sit on you.
I bet that works.
Be like, "Oh, I don't feel anything."
Yeah, I bet that works. And then they're like, "Oh, can you feel this?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that works.
Disabled Riz.
They say like chicks dig scars, but women also apparently just like disabled people.
It's not bad. It's very progressive.
Stephen Hawking cheated on his wife.
Okay, that's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
That's insane.
He had an
to me.
affair while he was
How?
in the chair. His nurse fell in love with him.
How?
Well, the only way I can think is it happened is that he must have had like enough time to like preload a bunch of romantic stuff into the
Pickup
computer.
lines?
So then when she came in, he could just bang, 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 hit her with like love letters that he'd been writing all night. But yeah, he cheated on his wife.
He was just crushing with that nurse.
Yeah, they
was
slept
on-
together.
He was on fire. What do you mean sleep? How does he even sleep with? You can't. He's not doing anything.
Yeah. I guess she was doing all the work.
On what?
Well, I think it still works. I think that bit
I don't-
still works because there's no muscle. It's just blood vessels.
That's wild.
So I think if you got blood, you can do it.
He's the real disabled Riz King.
He is. He is.
Yeah.
And that's why he went to Epstein's Island.
There you go. All right. Well, anyway, speaking of deaf, how does it affect you in comedy?
Well, I mean, it's probably easier for other people to tell you than for me because I don't know. It's just I've always been doing comedy with hearing loss. So, I mean, it'd be more interesting if you lost hearing and then had to do comedy. And
Before you started comedy, you're saying?
No, I mean, like if you were doing comedy now
Yeah.
and then you lost your hearing,
Oh,
you probably know more how it affects you than I do.
right.
Because like, yeah, people ask me that sometimes. They're like, oh, what's it like? I'm like, I don't know. It's
It's just your regular experience.
yeah, it's the only life I've ever had.
But you said, because you're mentioning how like sometimes you do this thing with your
Well, yeah, a comic once said to me that he thought it was cool how I was like talking to the audience, like I was telling them a secret, but it really is just me leaning to hear them. Heckling is weird. I don't mind hecklers, but I can't hear them half the time. So if someone yells out, it's awkward because I'm like, I don't know what you said. You have to repeat yourself. And like crowd work, I only ever talk, most people do it anyway. I only ever really talk to the front row because if it's 4 rows back, I'm missing a lot.
Oh.
If I can't lip read, I can't.
Oh, really?
I didn't even know I had lip read until COVID. And then everyone started wearing masks.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, I can't understand anyone. I didn't realize how much I relied on visual cues to figure out what people were saying.
I didn't realize that.
You probably do it too without realizing. I think most people do it.
I
But
think so.
there was a big uptick in people getting diagnosed with hearing loss during COVID because they suddenly realized they couldn't understand what people were saying. And then like, maybe there's something wrong with my ears.
Maybe I'm the problem.
Maybe I'm the problem. Yeah. Yeah.
More people should be saying that about themselves, you know?
Yeah. It would be good if more people would say that. I
Yeah,
think.
it would be. So wait, you're saying
Or maybe they do. I just don't hear them.
Def Riz.
If that's not the name of the episode.
It's got to be Def Riz. Yeah. He's going to write that. That's going to be the name of your next special. I'm saying it right now, all right?
There's a great Canadian comic called DJ Demers. Do you know him?
Yeah. He's deaf. Yeah.
He's got he's got a special called Uninterpreted.
Yeah.
And he's got another one called like I forget the names of his specials, but I talked to him about hearing loss
Okay.
because I made a documentary for the ABC, which is like your CBS, is it?
CBC,
CBC,
same thing. Yeah,
yeah.
similar. Yeah.
Yeah, because I pitched them a bunch of, because I have a law degree. I pitched
You
them
have a
bunch
law
of-
degree?
Yeah. And I pitched
Right.
them a bunch of
you're
stories
Jew?
about, because I'm Jewish. No, it's because you know what's funny? I did a comedy show called The Law Review, which was like a comedy law, like the law faculty at Monash, what the uni I went to, does a comedy show every year with law students, and I applied to be in it. And then I had such a good time. I'm like, I should get a law degree because I thought that was indicative of what actually having a law degree was like. It wasn't. It was
What a
waste
flex.
of time. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what was I saying?
Yeah. Sorry, I cut you off there.
Oh yeah,
I had to say that. Yeah.
I pitched them a bunch of stories about like legal stuff, about like legal reform and about like Indigenous kids in detention here. They weren't interested at all. And then I went, hey, I got a disability. Can I do something about that? And they were like, oh yeah, come on in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I ended up doing a documentary about hearing loss and I talked to DJ about it. Very interesting. Because he has hearing aids. He is like proper, he's proper deaf. If he takes them out, he can't hear anything.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he was like a guy a lot of comics would talk about back when I was in Canada. I never met him, but he's really funny. His stuff is really funny.
Yeah. And I think for his particular experience of hearing loss, I think there is a a pretty cool thing for the community, seeing a deaf guy who's gone so far. He's like got a sitcom now.
Yeah, they
And
actually,
he plays a deaf guy
I know.
in the sitcom,
Mhm.
which is like, yeah, there's not a lot of deaf famous people.
I don't
There's
even
not
know any.
Yeah, exactly, right? There's not a lot of visibility for the, Stevie Wonder plays the piano and is
Blind.
blind, but there's no real, you just
Yeah.
don't see him.
Yeah, he's gonna search up.
I was going to say you don't hear about him, but
Yeah,
that's cheap.
he's got it on lock today.
That's cheap.
Yeah, it's Helen Keller.
Yeah, but she was everything. She was,
she's the whole spectrum.
yeah, she was fully everything.
Yeah.
She was the rainbow flag
Yeah.
of the
Of this.
the pride flag.
Yeah.
She was that, but for
disabled.
disabled.
Facts.
She had it all.
There's Marley Matlin.
Who the fuck is that?
Yeah, exactly. Who
She's
is
all-
that?
Well, she was on Apprentice, if I remember
Oh,
correctly, and she's also an Academy Award winner.
Wow.
And Thomas Edison.
Do you
We all
reckon?
know that one.
Do you
Oh,
bet I bet her speech went forever because they couldn't play her off.
Thomas Edison. They had.
Yeah, you know who was deaf in one ear? Brian Wilson, who the Beach Boys, the guy who wrote all the best Beach Boys songs. There's a bunch of deaf in one ear people, but we're not really a community the way the deaf are. The deaf people are kind of assholes too.
It's to the half deaf community.
The half deaf community.
Yeah.
Well,
We're cool.
actually, if you Google who's the most popular deaf person, it's Beethoven.
Popular. He's dead.
Hey man, this is Google.
And also he went deaf later. He wasn't.
Well, because of the music.
I don't know. I thought it was like syphilis or something.
I mean, that probably does it.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of rock stars, especially, are
but
like
again,
they're
Dave Grohl, deaf in one ear, but that's just because he's been playing music.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, so yeah, it's not really like your situation.
We're
And
not.
then-
We're not a group the way the other disabilities are. Like, there's no like half deaf
yeah,
pride.
like there are like BIPOC communities.
But deaf people, like fully deaf people, are kind of dicks
to who?
to like people
To
who
half
are
deaf?
Yeah, because I say I'm half deaf. They're like, no, you're not, because to them, deaf is like an identity. It's not a description. It's an identity. It's
Okay.
like you know how people like capitalize B in black now. It's like the black experience. Yeah, like to them, they're like, you calling yourself half deaf is like saying like, it's like saying, oh, I'm half whatever,
Half black?
half black. Yeah, but not even that. Like half like something that's more in the cult, like a culture thing.
Oh, I see what you mean. You're
Because they've got sign language, they've got Braille, they've got their own community. So they feel like someone saying that they're like half that is kind of like saying, oh, I'm half the community. It's like how Irish people get angry at people when they're like Irish Americans. When they go to Ireland and they're like, hey, I'm Irish. And Irish people are like, no, you're not.
you're not Irish.
Yeah, you're not Irish.
Yeah, we're the real Irish.
You're just a drunk. But like, yeah, it's kind of like that. Like,
Interesting.
I've said before that I'm deaf, and then I've gotten messages from deaf people like, nah,
Really?
yeah, you're not one of us.
Like on stage, you said it, or where?
Like in videos.
Oh, in
or
videos.
whatever.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, they probably wouldn't
Again,
hear you.
yeah, they don't turn up. Yeah.
What did they say online? What did you post online that made them message you?
Oh, I had an old routine about being. It's like the first thing I put online that got any traction,
Oh, okay.
and it was just a bunch of jokes about like at a rally for half deaf people going, "What do we want? What?" All that stuff. And
That's good.
yeah, and then I put it up online. I got some messages from people who weren't happy.
Wait, but how did they know? There were subtitles on the video?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's why.
Well, also they can still use the internet. They have screen readers. There's like things that they can use to like navigate the internet that reads out the whole screen for them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the video is called like half deaf.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah.
So they already saw. They're like, oh, what's this?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear this.
I knew a deaf guy once, fully deaf guy. No, blind guy, different. Different organ.
one. Yeah.
And his phone, he had a smartphone. He had an iPhone, but it just talked everything.
Oh.
And I couldn't figure out how he was using it, but he knew where to put his thumb and everything. But it was like, this thing just won't shut up. It's like,
Oh, it's so annoying.
it goes, screen's on, pin code now. And then it goes, here are the apps on your home screen. Google, Apple, bank, blah, blah, blah. And it just reads everything
Oh my
out.
god.
And he was using it.
Just imagine this guy in the middle of a
touch
restaurant.
screen.
Screen's
Oh, man.
on. Google.
Yeah.
Google Maps.
But it's so fast. Like
Tinder.
I didn't even know it was talking, like saying words, because it's so fast. But he's just like his brain's learned to adapt. So it was like Google, Tinder, blah, 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 and he's just moving his thumb around. I'm like, dude, just get a Nokia. Just get a
Like a
text
physical.
button phone. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
you don't
they're-
need to do this.
Yeah, I know, right? It's so annoying.
Yeah.
That could start fights.
I know.
Yeah.
But then, you know,
And then you're like,
what are you going to beat up a blind guy?
yeah, you got to be at least somewhat disabled to fight another.
Yeah. Because,
you know?
I mean, even if you win, you lose.
That's
right?
true.
If you
It's
beat up a blind
it's a
guy.
lose-lose.
Yeah.
There's a funny video I saw recently on TikTok. This guy was is like blind people reading horror scenes, and it's them doing braille reading horror
Yeah.
scenes, and it's just some guy just like, it's fucking it's so good. That was fucking funny.
I wonder if there's like Braille. There's probably like Braille erotica too.
Braille what?
Erotica.
Oh, 100%.
How do you read that? Because you got one hand.
Yeah. What?
Because don't you need both hands? Or
Yeah.
do you just like read the bit that you find sexy and then you just
and then you think about
and then
it.
you take a break?
That's it.
And then you go back
Like,
to
yeah. Hey man, we can ask them. We can find them and ask.
We could. They're probably not watching.
They could be listening though.
They could be listening. Their phones might have found it.
A Stupid Neiman podcast, episode 17. David Rose,
It was
Neiman Naz.
exactly like that. Yeah, Defriz.
Defriz. It just sounds Chinese. Defriz.
So does this happen every time you do a podcast? You have the construction?
Oh, there's been construction. Anybody who's watching or listening to this episode, they've been through the journey of the construction noises.
Does it pick up on these?
Right now, it's not that because they're not hammering.
Yeah.
Usually, when they're hammering like
Oh,
metal on metal,
it's like
might as well be a what's that thing that sets a tone, like a beat?
Yeah.
a metronome. It's like in your face, like
That's
in your
amazing.
ear. It's nuts. I mean, one of your ears.
Did they tell you? Because I assume this isn't like this is an Airbnb or something.
Oh no.
Oh, they told you there was going to be
Oh,
construction.
we knew, but the thing is, who else is really doing a podcast in their flat? But like, this is such a good setup. We're like, why would be stupid not to, do it in our place? We already have the equipment and everything, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's like this is the only drawback is the construction.
See, for me, it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, no, you don't. You're not gonna hear
Yeah.
it. So who cares?